At 62, Margaret wasn't searching for miracles. She wasn't expecting a breakthrough or a secret cure. What she wanted was something far simpler to feel like herself again. Her mornings had become slow, not peaceful slow, but heavy slow. Her knees ached before her feet even touched the floor. Her fingers felt stiff around the handle of her favorite blue mug. Breakfast, once her favorite meal, now left her bloated and uncomfortable. And then there was the fatigue, a quiet, creeping kind that settled into her bones. Not exhaustion, not illness. Just a weariness that never quite went away. She told herself this was aging. This was normal. Right. But during a routine checkup, her longtime physician, Dr. Jarek, paused. He wasn't the kind of doctor who rushed. He listened, observed, and after a few moments of thoughtful silence, he said gently, "Margaret, what if it's not just age? What if it's your gut asking for help?" He walked to a cabinet and pulled out a small glass bottle with a white, slightly cloudy liquid inside. "Kefir," he said with a smile. "1 glass a day. That's it. Don't expect magic. Just give it time." Margaret eyed the bottle. It looked like yogurt, but the texture was thinner. The scent a little tangier. She took her first sip the next morning. It didn't taste like much, but it felt like something was waking up inside her. 1/2 a cup a day. That's how it started. And that tiny act, that quiet sip began to change everything. What about you? Have you ever taken a small step that led to a big shift? I'd love to hear your story. Margaret sat across from Dr. Jarek, her hands resting gently on her lap. His office, filled with the scent of books and eucalyptus, always felt more like a study than a clinic. She trusted him not just because he had been her doctor for over 20 years, but because he never rushed, never dismissed her concerns. She had just finished describing her symptoms, the bloating, the fatigue, the strange stiffness in her joints. "I've tried everything," she said with a tired smile. "Less bread, more fiber, even that turmeric tea my daughter swears by." Dr. Jarek leaned forward, his eyes calm behind his wire-rimmed glasses. "Margaret, I think your gut is asking for more than just avoidance. It's asking for repair." He reached behind his desk and pulled out a small glass jar. "Have you ever heard of kefir?" She shook her head. "Isn't that just yogurt clothes?" He chuckled. "But not quite. Yogurt is like the cousin that visits on weekends. Kefir is more like a live-in caretaker." He explained how kefir grains, passed down through centuries from the Caucasus Mountains, were teeming with life, a diverse colony of over 50 strains of beneficial bacteria and yeasts. Far more than the 2 or 3 strains you'd find in typical supermarket yogurt. Every time Margaret would drink kefir, she'd be welcoming and friendly guests like Lactobacillus kefiri, known for its ability to soothe the digestive tract and reduce inflammation. Bifidobacterium bifidum, which helped restore gut flora by crowding out harmful bacteria. And yeast like Saccharomyces cerevisiae, essential for breaking down food and maintaining microbial balance. But here's what truly set kefir apart. It didn't just deliver probiotics, it also came with its own prebiotic called kefiron. Kefiron is like fertilizer for the good guys already living in your gut. Dr. Jarek explained, it feeds them, strengthens them, helps them multiply. As kefir fermented, it released bioactive peptides compounds with antimicrobial and antioxidant properties. These weren't just academic terms. In real life, they meant Margaret's body could fight off inflammation more easily, manage oxidative stress, and possibly even regulate immune overactivity. "You're not just drinking something fermented," he said gently. "You're drinking something intelligent, something that knows how to help." Margaret took the jar home. At first, she was skeptical. The texture was thinner than she expected. The taste, tangy and a little fizzy, reminded her of buttermilk with a hint of sour cream. But something about it felt real, like it came from a time when food healed, not just filled. She poured 1/2 a cup each morning. It became her ritual just before her walk, just after her prayer. And quietly, Inside her body, a transformation had begun. Those tiny strains were more than microorganisms, they were repair crews. Each day, they worked in harmony, building a healthier ecosystem inside her gut. They reduced inflammation. They outcompeted harmful microbes. By the end of her second week drinking kefir, Margaret noticed something she hadn't felt in years: lightness. It was subtle at first. She could finish breakfast without feeling like she had swallowed a balloon. Her stomach didn't sing its usual afternoon opera of cramps and gas. Even the fatigue, that muddy haze that usually hit around 3 seemed to lift just enough for her to fold laundry without needing to sit down afterward. She mentioned it casually at her next checkup with Dr. Jarek. "I don't know if it's your Kefir," she said with a half smile, "but something's better." Dr. Jarek smiled back, leaning forward. "It's not my Kefir. Margaret, it's yours now? And yes, this is exactly what we hoped for." He explained that deep inside her gut, something powerful was happening. The kefir she drank every morning was producing short-chain fatty acids, especially one called butyrate. These fatty acids, made during fermentation, weren't just byproducts, they were messengers of healing. "Butyrate is one of the best things your colon cells can eat," he said. "It nourishes the intestinal lining, repairs damage, and reduces inflammation where it starts." Margaret blinked. "So it's not just digestion, no," he said gently. "A healthy gut isn't just about gas or bowel movements. It's about your immune system, your hormones, even your mood. Over 70% of your immune cells live in the gut. When it's inflamed, everything suffers." He told her about a 2020 study where patients with irritable bowel syndrome (IBS) drank kefir daily for 4 weeks. Nearly 70% saw significant improvement in bloating, discomfort, and bowel regularity, not from medication, but from restoring microbial balance. "And the beauty of kefir," Dr. Jarek added, "is that it does this without wiping out your system like antibiotics. It works with your body, not against it." For Margaret, that meant more than symptom relief. It meant peace of mind. For years, she'd avoided dairy, thinking it was the enemy. Milk, cream, even cheese all triggered discomfort. But now, with kefir, she was learning that the problem wasn't the milk, it was the lack of support to digest it. Kefir came with its own natural lactase enzymes, produced by the bacteria within. These enzymes helped her body break down lactose, the sugar in milk that had long caused her problems. For the first time in years, Margaret could enjoy a bowl of fruit with a splash of kefir. No discomfort. No regret. By week 4, it wasn't just that her gut was quieter. It was stronger. She found herself waking up with more energy. Her walks got a little longer. She didn't dread meals anymore. Her body, for the first time in a long time, felt like it was working with her, not against her. And all of it, the lightness, the relief, the quiet confidence had begun with half a cup a day. Margaret wasn't expecting this part. Yes, her digestion was better. But it was during one of her routine blood pressure checks that something truly surprising happened. 118/74, the nurse announced. Margaret blinked. That can't be right. It's usually much higher. They checked again. Same result. Later, in Dr. Jarek's office. She brought it up, half joking. "Should I write Kefir a thank you note?" He smiled. "Actually, maybe." Dr. Jarek explained that Kefir wasn't just working in her gut, it was traveling, silently influencing systems she hadn't connected. The key, something called bioactive peptides, produced during the fermentation process. These tiny protein fragments had been shown to act as natural ACE inhibitors, which help dilate blood vessels and lower blood pressure gently, without the side effects of synthetic drugs. And that drop in your LDL cholesterol, he added. That's likely thanks to kefir's ability to bind bile acids and reduce lipid absorption. It's doing what many statins try to do, only from your fridge. But it didn't stop there. Her knees, which had been stiff and sore every morning, felt less inflamed. She was walking more freely, even tackling stairs without that familiar wince. Dr. Jarek pointed to the synergy of minerals in Kefir calcium, magnesium, and vitamin K2. Most people get calcium, he explained, but without K2, it doesn't always go to the right places. Kefir helps direct it where it belongs into your bones, not your arteries. In postmenopausal women, this trio is golden. Studies have shown that daily kefir intake can improve bone density, reduce joint pain, and slow the progression of osteoporosis. Margaret's gut was stronger. Yeah, but so was her heart, her bones, her body. She hadn't just changed her breakfast, she'd quietly retrained her biology. Do you still think food can't be medicine Margaret used to until her own numbers told her otherwise? What are you saying? Then came the night Margaret truly understood the magic of kefir. She had gone to bed as usual, with her herbal tea and her book. But what followed was unusual, a full night of uninterrupted sleep. No tsari, wake up? No tossing and turning? No racing thoughts replaying conversations from 10 years ago? Just silence and peace. When she mentioned it to Dr. Jarek the following week, he leaned back thoughtfully. He said, "Is your gut talking to your brain?" He explained what scientists now call the gut-brain axis, a communication highway that links the intestinal tract with the central nervous system. Through it, microbes like those in kefir send chemical signals that influence everything from mood to memory to sleep. It's not just digestion, Honey said. Kefir actually helps regulate serotonin and GABA, your body's natural calming agents. Serotonin, often called the happy hormone, is produced primarily in the gut, not the brain. And GABA, a neurotransmitter, plays a critical role in managing anxiety and overactive thoughts. By improving the balance of gut bacteria, kefir helps both of these chemicals work more efficiently. And there was more. Kefir had also been shown to lower cortisol, the body's main stress hormone, often elevated in people over 50, dealing with sleep disturbances, worry, or caregiver fatigue. It even reduced inflammation in the brain, a process linked to age-related cognitive decline. One study from nutritional neuroscience found that older adults who drank kefir regularly scored higher on memory and attention tests after just 6 weeks. But Margaret didn't need to see the data. She felt the difference. Her thoughts weren't spinning in the morning. Her mind was clearer. Her heart, a little lighter. She smiled more, started journaling again, even returned to her old habit of crossword puzzles and actually enjoyed them. And as spring sunlight poured through her kitchen window, something was blooming not just in her garden, but deep within her. Hope. When was the last time something on your plate made you feel calmer? Not heavier. Let's talk about it. Your story matters. There was one more surprise. Spring had arrived in full bloom, pollen hung heavy in the air, and her neighborhood was buzzing with sneezes and watery eyes. Yet Margaret felt fine. No itchy throat, no runny nose, not even the usual fatigue that crept in every allergy season like clockwork. She mentioned it to Dr. Jarek during a follow-up. It's strange. I'm usually a wreck this time of year, but I haven't needed even one antihistamine. His eyes lit up. That's the immune system rebalancing itself. He explained how kefir didn't just soothe the gut or calm the nerves, it also trained the immune system to stop overreacting. The probiotics in kefir helped increase the production of secretory IgA, a special antibody that lined her intestinal wall, acting like a gentle, intelligent shield. This antibody is your body's first line of defense. Dr. Jarek said, it catches allergens, viruses, and harmful bacteria before they enter your bloodstream. Most people with overactive immune responses, allergies, autoimmunity have low IgA. Kefir helps rebuild that. But kefir did more than guard the gates. It also calmed the soldiers inside her body. Pro-inflammatory cytokines like IL-6 and TNF-alpha substances that fan the flames of inflammation were being downregulated. Meanwhile, anti-inflammatory signals like IL-10 were being boosted. It was like Margaret's immune system had taken a deep breath and stopped overreacting. And then Dr. Jarek leaned forward. There's something else, he said quietly. It's early science, but promising. He told her about emerging research on kefir's potential in colorectal cancer prevention, particularly in people over 50 where risk begins to rise. Your gut isn't just a digestive tube, he said. It's a front line in the fight against chronic disease, including cancer. Kefir, it turns out, may contribute to cellular repair by enhancing barrier integrity and supporting DNA stabilization, inflammation reduction, lowering the chronic immune stress that often underlies cancer development, and even triggering apoptosis, the process where abnormal or precancerous cells are told to self-destruct. Naturally and quietly, it's not chemotherapy, he added gently, but it is something like a daily vote, a quiet, consistent signal to your body to choose balance over chaos. Margaret sat with that thought for a long moment. She had never seen kefir that way, not just as a health drink, but as an ally, a protector, a humble, fermented reminder that healing isn't always loud or fast or dramatic. Sometimes it's a whisper in the background showing up for you. Every day you show up for it. By month 3, Margaret wasn't just feeling better, she was beginning to feel different. More steady, more present, more herself. Her digestion, steady and calm, even after meals that used to leave her miserable. Her joints no longer stiff every morning, just gently awake like the rest of her. Her blood pressure stable, her energy consistent, and her sleep. Peaceful night after night. But it was the smaller things that caught her off guard. The sparkle in her eyes returning, the sharpness in her memory, the way she could finally remember names at church, appointments without reminders. She even found herself humming again in the kitchen, something she hadn't done in years. She told Dr. Jarek, half joking, "I'm not just digesting better, I think I'm living better." He didn't laugh. He just nodded, then said something that stayed with her. That's what true health feels like. Not just the absence of symptoms, but the quiet return of joy. Kefir had done more than heal her gut. It had gently tuned her entire system from hormones to immunity to cognition. Margaret learned that the microbiome, the billions of bacteria inside her, didn't just affect digestion. It shaped how we age, how we think, how we defend ourselves against disease, and even how we feel emotionally. It's your internal ecosystem, Dr. Jarek explained. Nurture it, and it nurtures you back. That night, Margaret sat with her journal and wrote something simple but profound. I wish I had known about kefir earlier. So now she tells everyone. Friends at yoga, her niece in college, the older couple at the grocery store. She brings extra jars to neighbors, tapes handwritten instructions to the lids, because kefir, to her, is no longer just a health trend. It's a lifestyle and a quiet revolution in how we age. You don't need to be sick to start, she tells them. Start now while you still feel okay, so you can feel even better later. And she means it. Because Margaret, once resigned to normal aging, now believes something different, that aging doesn't have to mean decline. That with small, wise habits like a daily cup of kefir, you can live with clarity, strength, and lightness far longer than you imagined. I want to live to 110, she laughs one morning, pouring her kefir over a bowl of blueberries. Not just thrive until 110, she pauses. Actually, scratch that 112 sounds better. And you know what? Watching her with her energy, her calm joy, her steady hands and sharper mind, you start to believe she just might. No matter your age, 32, 52, or 82, it's never too early. Or too late to start feeding your second brain your gut. Start small, stay steady, and let the years come with grace. As Margaret stood by her kitchen window, morning light warming her hands wrapped around a glass of kefir, she thought about how far she'd come. Not long ago, she was tired, inflamed, and quietly struggling until one conversation with Dr. Jarek changed everything. Now, with each passing day, she felt stronger, steadier, and more connected to her body than she had in years. And she wanted others to feel that too. If you're watching this, she said with a gentle smile, don't wait for things to get worse before you care for yourself. She paused, then added, I truly believe everyone, no matter your age, needs to hear what Dr. Jarek has to say. She encouraged viewers to explore his YouTube channel, the lessons, the science, the simple rituals that could help anyone heal, restore, and thrive. It's never too early, and it's never too late. Whether you're 30 or 70, your body can still surprise you if you give it the right support. Margaret raised her glass. To health, at any age, in any season of life, watch Dr. Jarek. You won't just learn, you'll feel inspired to begin again. Healthy regardless of time.